I'd just like us to get to do a round of introduction, starting from Zedi as we come all the way, and just get to introduce yourself once again. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
As you said, I'm Zedeki Ongangotieno. I'm an alumni at African Nazarene. I started coming to Nazarene in 2009. That is when I started coming to Nazarene. In 2009, I was in high school, but I was playing for Nazarene. That time I was at Aquinas High School. But then Nazarene used to allow outsiders to come and play for their team. So that is where my journey with Nazarene started in 2009. So I left Nazarene, then did my Form 5, Form 6, then did my diploma in community health and nursing, then did my degree in counseling psychology back at Nazarene, then did another diploma in sports development in relation to science, and currently I'm in school again doing another course called Train of Trainees. The reason why I'm saying this, all this is because of sports, and all those educational achievements have been done through sports. Okay, at no point in time have I had to pay like full tuition fee to do what? To pursue whatever I'm pursuing. Sports has played a hand in it. So that is how powerful sport is as a tool, and how it can open up your world and your scope and your networks. At the same time, I've been privileged to travel to 15 different countries across the world, not for fun, but because of sports. Okay, so that is how sports is. And as I said, currently the world is looking for sportsmen and women. This is the only career in the world that you can employ anyone. Okay. If you take a sportsman, they can employ a lawyer, they can employ a journalist, they can employ a nutritionist, they can employ a physio, whichever, a nurse, but a nurse cannot employ a what? A sports person. Okay. So for now, you may be a sports person in your career thinking that, oh, all is gloom, all is done. But you can still channel whatever course you're doing and put it into sports. Okay, you can still go do sports marketing, sports advertising, sports journalism, sports nutrition, sports psychology, sports and community. Okay, so to cut everything short, karibuni, and I'm looking forward to a very engaging discussion. Thank you.
So, apa Kiswahili ama English? So either way, so my name is Oduor. I play at Central Michigan University. Nilianza hapa Strath, and nimeinteract na wengi wenu sana. African Nazarene is a special place to me because I know a lot of people from this school. I've seen them somewhere, pale Nyayo and all that. So it's not like I'm a visitor hapa hivi. So nitachanganisha Kiswahili kidogo. So I went to the States through Big Dream Vision in 2019, and this is my first time coming back, and it's just an honor just to see familiar faces, some people I grew up with, which are now at some point. So the new faces, I'm also excited just to interact with you and just share what sports can really do and like what impacts you can have through playing sports. So thanks.
Introduction.
Good afternoon to you guys. First things first, thank you to Jermaine for organizing this and for you guys taking your time. It's a Friday afternoon, but for you just to spare some time to come and listen to what the three of us have to share with you, that already tells me a lot about where your heart is when it comes to sports. As Jermaine said earlier on, my name is Alan Abinadabowino. I'm a senior news anchor and a political journalist at K24, which is umbrella under MediaMax Network Limited. So it goes without saying, I am where I am today because of sports. This began way back when I was in Kisumu. I actually grew up in Jermaine. I'm born and raised in Kisumu, and at a time when people were playing soccer, I started playing basketball. by extension through my elder brother who used to play basketball, so that's where I developed the love. Played the game up to a very tentatively high level, I'd say, which is the men's Premier League right here. So I was in St. Mary's School Yala. From St. Mary's School Yala, I got a scholarship at Strathmore University, went and did my studies like undergrad there, graduated, found my way, which is a story for another day. I studied BBIT, but I found my way in the media industry, and that's where I've been plying my trade for the better part of the past 6 to 7 years, so to say. So I think without much further ado, we can get into it, and I'm open enough to answer whatever questions you'll be having. Once again, thank you for having me.
Now we'll just do a round of questions. I'm the moderator, your moderator for today. I'm Jermaine Odhiambo. Let me also introduce myself. I studied also at African Nazarene, that's my alma mater. Around my life here on earth, I got to rub shoulders with this amazing gentleman. Alan, we grew up together. His brother Dixon was always ahead of me. I think Dixon was with my sister in the same primary school. KJ as well, Kisumu pale, tulikuwa tunamfunganga diapers. Yeye na bradangu wako same. Then Zedeka tumejuana Nairobi hapa. Nilikuwa natupiga Zitex, saa zingine tunampiga. Then akaamua kuja Nazarene. So ladies and gentlemen, as we continue, have your questions in mind. We'll get a point where you get to ask questions. But the panelists, now over to you. What motivated you to pursue a career in sports and education, particularly in the Kenyan context? You're free to start. Anyone can just.
I'll start. I can just sit here.
Yes, you can.
Mine is very interesting because going into Form 1, I was way chubby. I tell people this story, people don't believe, but my waist size was like 46 towards 50. I was this big boy going into Form 1. So I went into Form 1, then immediately they saw me, they threw me into rugby. So for the better part of like the first term, second term, I was playing rugby. I was in the ruck. Then I had a shoulder injury. So during my recovery, I used to go to the basketball court. So I used to sit there, watch. Then during my healing process, I started getting interested in basketball. Then push forward, Form 2, I get expelled from school because I was a naughty boy. I got into a fight with a teacher. That saw me, got expelled, then came back to Nairobi. So when I came back to Nairobi, the only thing that I could fall back to was basketball. So it happened that there's a tournament somewhere in Isili. I had to go play. Then once I played the tournament, then that is where Queen saw me. They were interested in me, and since then I've never looked back. So the incidences in my life, those are the things that made me choose sports. But growing up at, I don't know, 5-6 years, I was not the type of person that will kick a ball, so will go out. No. But immediately that transition from primary school to high school, and going into high school where sports was a key thing, that is what transformed me and shifted me to. And then now the incident of getting expelled, and now the only thing I could fall back to was sports. And since then, I've never looked back.
So my basketball journey started in Kisumu. So I remember the first time working as a dog. Some people, they played for Anu at some point. This time I was a tall, lanky kid. Nilikuwa the tallest kwa age group yangu most of the time, and I never did basketball. I just did soccer and like other football. What did I say? Football, soccer, never. So nilikuwa cheza tu futa for most of the time, and the change came like when I came around the high school. I didn't get the opportunity to get like a scholarship. Like some of you have played through scholarship in high school. I didn't really get that. I touched my first basketball like in high school, Form 1. Matter of fact, your time like when we joined the school, that's when like the season around February. That's when like the high school season is, like going on. So I didn't even like get a chance to really like even practice with the main team. There was already like a squad going on. So I got a chance to watch the games and that, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this, but I was just kind of interested on how the game was being played, the physicality, the pace, and that. So I was like, you know what, I'll give it a try. So that's when like we didn't have a basketball coach at that point, so we used to have actually like a teacher, mwalimu wa history. Anakuja hizo days za outing though, utamwona coach, like you'll never see like anybody just taking your hand and like teaching you like the fundamentals like of the sport. So most of the time you have to teach yourself. So I really didn't get that opportunity until like we had like a coach later, like Form 3 up Rival. So like my early stages was like more of like watching what people do and like just trying to imitate and just try to copy that and try it by yourself. So most of the time I was not that confident because I was really tall and everybody had the expectation like, all right, once you're tall, you know something about basketball. But I really didn't know nothing. So I used to wait until everybody's gone. That's when I used to shoot my bricks, shoot with 2 hands with time, Then I just used to see people shoot with 1 hand. That's when I just started transitioning. And with time, like, let me just fast forward. So high school really didn't get like a lot of exposure like most of you like guys had. And I think we played Lakeside, and at that point I was still in high school. So I played for Lakeside, and they were still in Division 1. And it was like the series where like if you win the series, you get promoted to the Premier League. So that's when like that was the last game. Like it was one of the series games. So most of the players wasn't there. I don't know what the situation was, but I got a chance to play with Paul Patrick and Josh, a bunch of like high school guys. And the crazy part, we went crazy. And after that, Coach Tony reached out to me, and I ended up starting there. So in 2019, there was a camp hosted by Big Dream in Kisumu, and I went to the camp. I was not confident enough. I was like, these people, like the people present at the camp are people like who started playing basketball. They already made their name. Some of them like was already known in high school. But I was like nobody, I was just this kid who just, most of the guys like already knew basketball. Before even I knew how to dribble, they was already like playing in high school and that. And I was like, I don't even know if I could make it to because they was only choosing 2 guys, the top 2, to get the scholarship. And I don't know what came into my mind. And the previous week, there was a game in Sharimoyo, and there's this guy, Anachiza Ulinzi. He used to play for Ulinzi. We were just sitting at the gate. I didn't have like, decent basketball shoes. We were just sitting at the gate. Then this guy just walked up to me, and he just gives me like a pair, the same pair he just played with. He just gave it to me. We were sitting like 3-4 guys over there on the stone by the gate. And that really like, it kind of disturbed me for a while. I was like, why did he even give me the shoes out of everybody there? Because he came and asked me what shoes you wear. I said 14, because I was putting on size 14 by then. Then he just gave me the pairs. And when I was going to Kisumu, I didn't know if I would even be in that tournament, that camp, because I didn't even have the right shoes, But like him giving me the shoes, I was like more confident. So I was like, that's a good sign for something good coming. So I don't know, that day, I was just outstanding, and I was honored enough to be selected as the top 2. I don't know where the courage came from, but I didn't even think about it. Matter of fact, let me just be honest with it, because it's already passed. When I saw the squad that was there, like I was competing against, I was like, hii chakula hii ndio sana ngoja. Juu kulikuwa na pilau inapikwa hapo. Nikasema bora nimekula hii food. So niko fiti. So like I didn't even have the pressure of like even try to press something, but like with time, I'm just competitive in nature, and like, I was gifted with the length, athleticism, and I stood out. So that's how I ended up going to the States, and since then my basketball journey has taken me places. The States has like around 54 states, and I've been blessed to travel to over half of the states, like 27, 28, just playing basketball. Like there's a point where we used to like fly out every weekend to a different state, to different tournament. So that enough can show you how basketball can, open doors for you. I've met people I've never met. I've been to NBA games. Those people I used to see on pictures, on the TV. I've seen them live on the court side. I've even got time to interact with some of them. So that's how basketball, you can use it as a tool to take you places and also like inspire other people through the game of sports.
Yeah, so before Alan comes into it, I'd just like to, I know amongst our audience there are also hockey players. Which other sport? Hockey and? Just hockey and basketball. Okay, so it's this.
Cheers.
What? Hockey and chess. So some of the things our panelists are sharing, cuts across all sports. They mentioned basketball because maybe they've related with basketball most, but it's literally cuts across all sports. I'm going to take it away.
Yeah, sure thing. Well, my story is not as exclusive, probably similar to most of the guys in the country. But even as I give a brief summary of the same, we never used to have such things. When I was growing up, such things set up for people to come and share. And we already here, this is a small group. So ask whatever questions you want to ask. Be as confident as you want to be. Without confidence, you're dead in this country. You're dead in this world. So I always try to tell people that be as confident as you can be if you want anything out of this life. That was just as we're moving on. So don't shy away from asking whatever questions. Be as open as you can be today and whatever you're doing in life. So as I mentioned earlier on, my journey began in Kisumu, born and raised in Kisumu, played basketball because of my elder brother. I used to be a soccer player, but at some point I quit that, then I started playing basketball. I'd played basketball literally 90% of my life. I remember there was a time I was in Aga Khan Primary in Kisumu. I used to skip classes to go and play basketball at a place called Sports Ground. So I was among the few people who would be privileged enough to play among us, the who's and the who's. There was another player called Dede. I don't know. Yeah, there was another short, super short, Dede. So it was with Dede and me. We were among the few people who would be given a chance to play among the who's and the who's. So from that age, I knew that I had something special in me. At least that's what I told myself, even if it didn't come out as that to many people. So through that, played the game. And when I got to class 8, now this is a good transitioning point of your life from primary to high school because it will define your basketball journey. You know that form that people are given to fill the schools that they want to go to when they're going? I only failed one school in that whole form. People should fill, I think, 8 to 12 schools. I only failed one school. And I knew that I wanted to go to Maseno. I only failed one school. I failed Maseno school. That was in class 8. Did my exams, passed my exams, but I wasn't called to Maseno school. Tried to get means of getting there. I didn't get an opportunity. But I told myself my journey is not ending there. So I was supposed to go to Nairobi school. My mom wasn't a bad idea. I don't know why my mom didn't want me to go to Nairobi school. The letter was there. She wasn't comfortable with it. So eventually I ended up in St. Mary's School, Yala. So that's where I got there. The basketball program there wasn't necessarily as strong as Maseno, which is the powerhouse in the Nyanza region. But I told myself I can make something special out of it because I always like not necessarily being part of the A team. I always like challenging the A team because that's where your prowess and your skills are able to be told and set apart from the other crew. So I was in St. Mary's School. I remember when I got into Form 1, Form 2, I was made the captain. So I was captaining guys in Form 2, Form 3, Form 4. So I believe my coach saw something in me and I was made the captain from then. That year, we didn't necessarily perform too well, but the next 2 years were not so bad. I played in the provincial finals in my final year. And I remember I was actually really excited because I knew that we were going to play in the nationals, but something again happened. Northeastern produced a team. Northeastern produced a team and I was like, what? But I was super happy for my performance because the previous year I played in the provincials, the semi-finals of the provincials, which takes you to the nationals, and the following year I played in the finals. And why I'm so proud of that journey is because through that, we never had coaches. We never had people who dedicated their time to basket. So 60% of my time as a player was developing other players. So you're a player and you're coaching other people to learn basketball. And I remember it hurt me another season because somebody walked up to me and told me, Alan, it's been over a month and I don't think you train. You train other people, but you're not training yourself because you don't even have the time to work on your game. But it hurt me because I was beat in the district finals, which was very painful. So eventually worked onto that, did my thing, went and played in the semi-provincials. When I got back to school, I was just prepping for my exams. My coach called me and they told me, Strathmore, willing to give you an basketball scholarship, all you need to do is get a B. I've never necessarily been a book smart, so I've always been an average student. Whenever I want to get A's, I have to really focus. So I've never really given, pardon the language that I'm about to use, I've never really given two shits about books. So I've always just told myself I'll do whatever I need to do to get me by. So I did whatever I did, and I got that B that Strathmore wanted. So finished high school, immediately transitioned. I didn't have that break that people usually have from high school. So transitioned into Strathmore, went through, did my undergrad there, played in the different leagues, finished, and I'd say it was a good journey again, because Strathmore really opened my eyes onto a different view of life. And I'd really told myself that I wanted to be a professional basketball player. That's something that I told myself. I wasn't going to be any other thing. The plans were super serious. This is something I've never really shared with anybody, but since we're talking about sports, I can speak about it in public because it will sort of define our discussion moving forward. So it got to a point where my mom and my auntie who lives in the States, they're like, you know what, Alan has been super serious about this basketball thing. I think I was in my third year. So let's see what we can do about it to see if it can go somewhere. So my auntie made a couple of calls for different camps, and she got a camp in Spain. This was one of the Euro camps that happens for about 4 to 5 months. You go attend the camp, then after the 4 or 5 months, you're taken through another phase of tournaments. Then after that, people are open up to scouts. So if you're lucky, you can be scouted by a Division 2 team in the league that is played in Spain or any other place. So I was really excited about this, gave it my all. We paid everything. We spent close to $1 million, Bob, because the camp was costing about 700 to 800,000. Then the flight tickets, of course, the return tickets would cost you about 200,000. So we spent close to $1 million shillings. All was said and done, only to come and realize that this camp was a scam.
Wow.
It was a scam. I remember I hadn't read for my exams when I was in campus. I had put that to the side. I was training a lot. And somebody who can attest to this is my best friend, who's Samuel Mogoko. I think they both know them. I was training a lot and I didn't share much. Even him, he asked, hey, man, you've been training. I was working out, waking up at 4, hitting the road because I was really prepping. I told myself, if I get onto that plane, I'm becoming a professional basketball player one way or the other. So it turned out that the whole camp was a scam. We tried to call, nobody was picking up. My visa was declined because the embassy has to call those people to actually confirm the camp is there for them to be giving you that visa. It was declined. Super rough. That happened. Fast forward about 3. So we lost that $1 million, Bob. 3 months down the line, my other best friend passes on. He was called Billy, passes on. Super rough year. So it was just a really messed up year for me. And I think that is where I sort of like took a different shift in direction, considering sports is not necessarily a career as per se in Kenya. So it was time to just recalculate everything in my life and try and figure out. And that's how I now transition from specifically focusing on playing the game, but now trying to find ways to make the game better so that somebody cannot go through what I went through, because I'm among the few privileged people who their parents were willing to spend that amount of money to see that my talent would pay off. But how many people are that privileged? We have, I think, on a scale of 10, we'd have 1 to 10. So that's why I told myself, now I'll focus my energy on trying to improve the scene right here for basketball players. Sorry, for people who are involved in other sports. I believe there are other people, but I relate more with basketball. So that's why I'm using that as a reference point. So that has been my journey so far, but it's through basketball that I got a scholarship to Strathmore, opened my eyes, and it's through that I've been able now to get to where I am in life today, doing what I get to do.